Hi, my name is Cathy Mercado, and I'm from Merrimack Valley Housing Partnership, the first-time homebuyers program with the Merrimack Valley. We're here with Brian, and he is an attorney with Alcorn and Owens out of Westford, Massachusetts. Hi, Brian.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. What are the roles of an attorney in regards to the home buying process?
So the attorney generally gets involved at the beginning of the process, and we look at the contracts that are involved from the offer to the purchase and sale agreement. A lot of times we don't get involved with the offer because people sign them over the weekend and we get the call after, but we're always happy to look at them. So we work through the contracts, and then once that's all signed, we get going on the title search on your property that you're buying. We do an examination of all the transactions that have transpired over the past 50 years or so. On your parcel of land that you're trying to buy, we look at every single conveyance, every single mortgage, make sure every single lien is extinguished, and see what we have for easements or anything like that. Every home is going to have easements for utilities and things like that, but we're going to take a look and see what has been recorded against that parcel of land. And then as we get to the closing, we conduct the closing. The bank will send us the closing documents, and we'll explain those to you at the closing table.
Okay. What are one of the things that come up in regards to when you're searching the title?
We're looking at every mortgage. Sometimes you'll see the mortgage, an old mortgage has been discharged by the wrong bank or something like that. So we'll try to cure those things. We're looking to make sure that every single conveyance was done properly, that the correct parties are signing deeds and things like that. Another thing that we're going to be doing throughout the process is we're going to order a plot plan of the property. So we're going to get a surveyor just to make sure that your house is sitting within the bounds and it's where we expect it to be, that the neighboring home isn't encroaching on your lot as well.
Okay. How far do you go back?
We go back, we're required to go back at least 50 years, but we have to start from a deed, so sometimes that means going back even further than that, but we go back at least 50 years.
Okay. And in regards to a closing, so how long does a closing take?
A closing is generally about 45 minutes. Sometimes it's longer if we have someone that wants to go through the forms more in depth, or if they want to read every single thing, it will take longer than that. But generally, we can explain each document and go through everything comfortably in about 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay. So let's say that the lender lists you as the closing attorney for the bank side. Should the buyer, can they also hire you in regards to their interest?
They can. Sometimes we will get the call that a buyer would like us to be there, even if we're not doing the closing, just to help them through the process, and we're happy to do that. Generally, the bank selects the attorney, though, and it's sort of a dual representation because everyone's interests are really the same. We're guaranteeing to you and the bank that you have good title to the property, but if there is any kind of conflict, then we would have to withdraw, but that doesn't generally happen. We can represent the bank and the buyer.
Okay. And how about reviewing the purchase and sales agreement?
So we do that as part of the process as well. The bank is going to be paying us anyway to be doing the closing, so we do it as a courtesy just to make sure that everything looks good, that you're not signing anything that could put your deposit in jeopardy.
Okay. Typically, I've heard that some attorneys do charge, and it's not a courtesy to review the purchase and sales agreement.
That's true. Some charge separately. By and large, that's not the case. Everyone's fees are kind of the same, but there's not that many attorneys that just focus on real estate, so we're kind of running in the same circles all the time, and you kind of see what everyone else is doing. But we do it as a courtesy. It's not huge money if you have someone just review the contract and that's it. But it's true, some attorneys don't. I suggest before you get that involved in the process, you talk to a few attorneys and find someone that you feel comfortable with, someone that's going to answer your questions and be able to speak to you on your level so that you are very comfortable with what you're doing.
Okay, well that's good. Another question I have, I all the time I get buyers calling the office. Is this optional? Titles insurance? It says it's optional. It's typically maybe 500 to 600, sometimes a little bit more than
Sometimes
that.
it's a little bit more than that. I suggest that everyone gets title insurance. So there's 2 title insurance policies in play in a residential closing. You're always going to have to buy the bank a lender's policy, and that's protecting the lender against any kind of title issue that the attorney missed or something that we couldn't have possibly found in the event the bank takes title to the property by foreclosure. You're always going to have to buy that. You have the option to buy yourself the same type of protection. And although we're very thorough with our title examinations, I always tell people it's penny wise and pound foolish not to have it. We're talking, in the whole scheme of things, not a lot of money to protect your home, which is probably the biggest investment that you're going to be making. So it's a little bit of money to protect a lot of money, and you're going to buy it once, and it's as good as long as you own that property, that policy will protect you.
Yeah. Typically, that's what I say to them. And then I say, well, just call your attorney. Who's your attorney? I'm sure that attorney's going to tell you, please, it's optional, but do not avoid paying that.
Yeah,
okay?
it's definitely saved a few closings for us before. We've had to make claims on policies here and there.
Okay. Could you just tell us a short story of one of your memorable closings or an issue you had at a closing that you'll never forget? Anything. Just.
There's a lot of them.
I'm sure.
I mean, we've had issues at last minute walkthroughs where there's damage to the property, things like that. So I always tell buyers you should visit the property not only the day of the closing before we sign, but do it, a few days ahead of time. So if we know about an issue, we can take care of it. Like if the mover drops a bureau down the stairs, which we've had that happen before, and damages a wall, there's time to deal with it. We've had some fluky title issues before. The wrong party signed a deed or whatever, so things happen. But by and large, I like real estate just because buyers want to buy and sellers want to sell, and we're all sort of working towards that common goal of getting you in your home.
Home ownership. I mean, having the best team is one of the most important things that we stress to our buyers. It's very, very important for you to make sure you're weighing your options.
Yeah, I agree. It's important to get your team lined up before you even sign that first contract, because once you sign that, things start to happen pretty quickly. You have 10 days to find a home inspector, so it's good to have someone lined up in advance, see their availability, have your attorney available to read the contracts and to help you through the process.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to sit with me here and do this interview for our series. Again, this is Cathy from the Merrimack Valley Housing Partnership. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Was that okay?